Am I live? Okay. My audio is up. Can both of you speak?
Says we're on the air.
On the air.
Okay, we're good. What mic are you speaking through, Link? Oh, because it was close to your stomach. Got it.
You didn't want to hear the rumblies in my tumblies? Oh, it went again.
We'll make this quick so you can go have, so you can eat.
I ate just a little bit ago. I don't know why it's so rowdy, but
It's probably digesting the foodie foods.
The foodie foods. Okay. So let me.
My brain is I don't know how you're even.
Who, me?
Conscious. Yes, you, Josue. I
We'll
don't know how
talk
you're
about that in a second.
right now.
We'll talk about it in a second. Let me hit that record button. Welcome to GT Radio on the Geek Therapy Network. Here at Geek Therapy, we believe that the best way to understand each other and ourselves is through the media we care about. My name is Josue Cardona, and I'm joined by Link Stomach, Link Keller,
hello.
and Laura Taylor.
Hey.
So you were asking me right before we started recording, Laura, how I'm awake because you are not awake, burnt out.
I am not. I'm
Sleepy.
not
tired?
burnt out. Just exhausted.
Exhausted. Yeah. Well,
In a good way. In a good way.
in a good way. Yeah. I mean, so we had over the weekend, we finally had TAGGS, which was a Therapeutic and Applied Geek and Gaming Summit, the first ever. I think it went very well.
So do I.
Agreed.
I would very much like to know what you think and what everybody who is there thinks. We'll send a feedback form very, very soon. And
More puppet time. More happy.
more puppet time. That's all that the people want.
More puppet time. That's what they want.
Yeah. So I want to talk about two things. One, you asked me, how am I like awake and okay? And like, is my brain okay? You didn't ask that one, but you should be asking, is my brain okay after this weekend? And
That was what that question was actually going to be. And
what
then
I
you
was
told me
really
to stop.
trying to ask. Yeah. I this weekend was so fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like the culmination of 10 years of work, of doing things. And Jang in the chat it says it was life-changing, legendary. It was so fulfilling and so I'll keep saying fulfilling, but it was very good. My batteries are full. I am you know how like in all the best shonen anime, you know, like you exceed that 100% capacity, right? Like you reached 150%, right? Like you're at level 2. You like your power level is above 9,000, right? Like you broke the meter, like that kind of thing. Like that's how I felt on Sunday. I was a little tired by Sunday night, but after 3 days of that, and also it felt more good as the weekend went on, because and I mentioned that, and I'm glad Jang is in the chat, because I don't think I haven't talked to him. I don't think there was a moment at the end of the weekend, which let's explain what TAGGS was, by the way, just in case. So the Therapeutic and Applied Geek and Gaming Summit, a professional conference and gaming convention. We can talk about the gaming convention part. That didn't, like, it wasn't as gaming as I wanted it to be, but there were games.
There were games. We did games.
There were games.
We played some games.
It was. I'm not disappointed. I'm just pointing that out. If you like check the schedule, but the idea was to bring together people who use geek culture and gaming culture in either therapeutic or in applied ways, right? Like they're using it intentionally within their work, and the work being, you know, maybe you're an educator, maybe you're some kind of therapist, not just mental health therapist, right? You're working in medicine, you're working in community practice, all the things that we always talk about here at Geek Therapy. Let's bring together people who do this and let's learn from each other. So we framed it like a professional conference, and it was a professional conference for that. And we did a call for proposals. We got a lot of great submissions. I was reflecting on that part of it. We did not expect to have 80 events running throughout the weekend, right? There were times throughout the week where we had 5 concurrent presentations.
Most of the time, there were 5 concurrent.
Well, it was 4.
I think it was 4 most of the time, but there was definitely a slot on Saturday that was 5.
On Sunday too.
No. Technically, only Friday had 4 at a time during 4 time slots, and I believe Saturday and Sunday always had 5 slots running at the same time. And that was a lot going on at once. And there was a point on Sunday. It was during the last presentations on Sunday, and I can only do so much. So my brain could only monitor 2 at a time. So I was watching 2 panels at the same time. I had Apple AirPods, synced to 2 different devices, so 1 in each ear. So I was listening to 2 at a time, and then like kind of going back and forth. Fun fact: if you just change your view, like then you sync up the mouth movement to the person talking in one, and then like your brain kind of blocks the sound from the other. You don't even have to mute the. Anyway, so I was watching.
That would break my brain.
I think my brain's broken. But at the end, there were 2 presentations going on, and one of them was from John Ramos, and he's a medical doctor. He was doing a residency in New York City, and he wrote a blog post about this story, and it's on the Geek Therapy website. And it's this story where he says like, oh, I was in residency, I listened to the Geek Therapy podcast, like I was thinking about this, and then I did this stuff with a client who was catatonic, and there's Naruto. It's a beautiful story, but there's a sense of pride to hear him tell the story as the presenter, right? Like he's presenting the story to teach other people and show them, and like that was one of the stories that he showed. He's doing this simultaneously while in the other room there was Vanessa Hintz, who's talking about using media to address transgenerational trauma, and is talking about how do we talk about race and racism, and she's bringing up like horror movies like Us and the series like Them, and she's talking about Black Panther, and she's bringing up all these different things. And Vanessa, I met because she was a student at the Chicago School of Professional Psychology, taking the Geek Culture and Therapy course that Patrick O'Connor and I co-developed. He taught it there for 2 years. She was in one of those classes. I always guest lectured, but they invited me for final presentations. So I'm there and I'm watching the final presentations. I'm giving feedback, and I remember very clearly Vanessa's presentation. She used the X-Files as her for her project, and it was great. And I did meet her in person eventually, but I'm seeing her, right? It's like 2 students of yours, right? Like work that you've done over the years, and now they're here at this conference that you set up for. You set it up for them to come and teach other people, right? And it was like, so that was like the last thing during the weekend, right? And the rest of the day was sort of like, we joked about how many people, like, there were tears on Sunday, but it was because of the different presentations, right? It was like because of the topics, because of the things that were being covered, videos that were shown.
Kelly Dunlap, I swear.
Yeah. She knew what she was doing.
She sure did. She warned us.
She did.
Yeah. And it felt like on Friday I was like, oh, this feels good. And on Sunday I was like, oh, this is what I hoped it would be. And so it was a success. So anyway, so I felt like I was overflowing with positive energy, with I'm multiple things, and I definitely want to talk more about tags, but I kept thinking about something from the video game Ni no Kuni, and I think about this all the time, and I love talking about it, but I hadn't felt this way in a long time. Like this week in particular, tags aside, this week has felt like 2020. Right? It feels like, I don't know if there's a word for like 2020 PTSD yet if we have that, right? But it's like this week just feels like 2020, and not just like at the national scale, right? It's like, yeah, COVID numbers are up again. There's outbreaks. Hospitalizations are up. One of the vaccines got like shut down, right? They were like, no, let's stop that. The George Floyd case is now, on trial. Like we're seeing that on TV. Like there's more shootings. There's just like horrible things happening. And then on personal levels, like I'm talking to people and school had this issue and like I have nobody to take care of the kids, or like this other thing happened. Like it felt so much like 2020 that it feels like last year was shocking, and now it does feel a lot like it's just revisiting that horrible 2020. It sucks. I don't know if either of you feel that way this week, but I've felt that way, and I know a lot of people who do too. But because of tags, I was like, woo! Like, I was like, I feel really good. But for the last year, it's been really hard for me to check in with people that I would like to check in with, right? Like I've become very conscious of how much I'm able to handle or take on. So I often don't ask if I'm already not doing well. Me asking someone how they're doing and then being honest and having a conversation about how bad things are or how they feel becomes more than I can handle at times. So sometimes I don't ask. Because I don't feel equipped, and I don't want more of that because I've already have enough. But with tags, I felt like I've been feeling good, right? And instead of being like, hey, everybody had this amazing weekend, right? Like how was yours? It's not what I did. It was more like, oh, I definitely feel good enough. I feel, on the one hand, it was like I've got love to share. I've got enough positive energy that I can take some and hand it off. And in some ways, maybe it felt like I had enough that if I got a couple of hits, if I took a couple of hits, I was protected enough that I would still be okay after it. And so it reminded me of this mechanic in Kuni, where you have this ability to see different feelings and things in people. And you can see they're not just feelings, but some of them is like courage and kindness and things like that. And you can see when someone is like overflowing with one of those things, which basically the game is presenting it to you as like they have more than they need. And then your side quests often have to do with people who, and the main quest too, where you meet people who are lacking in those things. So you can find someone with a little extra kindness and ask them if they're willing to spare a little bit. And then you can take it, put it in a locket, and then carry it over and then take it to someone else who needs it. Like as the player, you can't like generate that energy, but you can find it in the world and move it and have one person share it with another. I think about that game all the time. I love the visual of it, and I hadn't felt like this in a long time. Like I was like, I got a little bit extra here. I can move it this way. So I was able to check in with my friends. I was able to check in with people I haven't checked in with in a long time because it was too much. But I felt like I could do it. If this goes bad, I think I'll be okay because I'm like on this particular high. It just felt very, very good. And yeah, I mean, this week it sucked. It still sucks, but I don't feel as down as I think I would have otherwise, or as I felt before tags. Definitely, like I definitely feel good. So I'm mixing these things up because they've been on my mind, and I wanted to make sure we didn't just talk about how great tags was, but also kind of bring in these are the kind of conversations that we wanted people to present at tags, where these are a real life application or metaphor of something that is a part of a game or something, but no, like we live this stuff. We love this stuff, and we see those connections, and we're able to bring them into the work that we're doing. So we basically had a whole weekend of that, and yeah, I'll touch these topics back and forth a little bit, but I'm curious if there's anything you wanted to say about tags. Either of you. You both presented, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, we did.
I'm very proud of both of you, by the way. I don't know if I told you this.
I'm proud of you.
No. I'm proud of you. But thank you.
Okay.
I'm glad. Yeah. I feel pride in seeing you both present for different reasons. I can give you feedback off the air later, but I was very happy to
Yeah. Well, I was on 5.5 hours of panels on Friday.
Wow. What?
Because our panel was 4 hours. The Teenage Nightmare game was 4 hours long.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I don't do I don't do presentations. I do panels. When there are other people there, I can do it.
Do you still get nervous as you used to?
I think this is like an outlier because I was at home in my chair, in this chair, doing the same thing that I do here. I'm talking to my computer screen. There were just more people on the other side of it.
Yeah.
But I'd say this time I wasn't nervous. I wasn't as nervous at all. The last time I did a presentation in person, mini panic attack, I would say, beforehand. This time it wasn't so bad. But I think when we were doing the panel, Teenage Nightmare was our opportunity to play a game together as a group of professionals that gets together on Fridays to play. And then we did a debrief after about what was important to us about playing as professionals. And one of the things that I mentioned is I feel safe with them. They are very welcoming and warm. And I think that in general, TAGGS felt safe. I felt like I wasn't going to run into somebody that's like, that's stupid, So I think we built a good environment and a community. Like we pulled more people into the Geek Therapy Discord, and there's a separate Discord for therapists and educators and spiritual directors and all kinds of people that use RPGs in their practices. And we've had an influx over there because of TAGGS, and it's really cool and injected some excitement into the group. John is one of those people, and we're blaming him for all of the extra chatter, and it's great. We love you.
The Discord is John's domain, so he's doing his job. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what was it about that made it feel safe?
I think that I felt like people got it. Like it's my people. They understand this isn't a weird thing, talking about how geek culture I think the average person doesn't really think about how, I don't know, watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier affects them emotionally because it reminds them of a thing. Or I mean, a lot of people who are the average people were talking about WandaVision that way, but I don't know, people they watch Star Wars and they don't think about the meaning behind these characters and why they relate to the stories and all of that. But you say something about connecting with a villain, and there was a whole panel on villains. I loved it. I loved so much that was there. Yeah, it felt like I was with my people.
Yeah, I'm glad that turned out to be the case because that was the plan. I kept trying to tell people, I know when we present at pop culture conferences, we have to break down and use particular language related to psychology and mental health or the fields that we're using, and then even sometimes present the fact that we're using this stuff, either in education or therapeutically, and it's often we're still pitching an idea, right? And a lot of people are like, I had no idea that this was possible, or that people were doing this.
Yeah.
And then the opposite is when you go to a professional conference for your profession and you bring this stuff up, it's it's like, oh, the positive version of it is like, wow, that's so cool, that's so interesting, that's so novel, like, oh, that's so, how cute. I didn't know, you could do stuff like that. That's interesting. I'd love to learn more. And then here it was like, those two, like it's a given, right? Like everybody there already bought into these ideas. They just wanted to see different ways to do it. And so I felt like on Friday, the theme that I was seeing from the chat room, from talking to people, was like, wow, I didn't know there were this many of us. Like I thought I was alone, right? It wasn't like they're already bought in, and that was a reaction that I kept hearing. It was like, I can't believe that there's more people like me, and good. I'm glad that the right people found the event, right? I told everybody, like, you don't have to explain how to turn on a console. You don't have to explain what technology is. You don't have to define Star Wars. And
one of Kelly's panels, she's like, I'm gonna speed through this because you all get this already. Yeah. One of my favorite comments, I saw it a couple times through the weekend, was I've learned so much more in like one day of this conference than I will ever use. And like, I've learned not than I will ever use, but that this will help my work so much more than even one presentation at another professional conference, right? Like,
nobody said more than their degree.
Maybe
their years of training.
That might be what they're thinking, but it really is like important. Like, we had people say that they were using this stuff more than they would use something in another. That they would use this more than they've got more value out of TAGGS than they would out of a professional conference that offered CEs for the entire weekend.
There was one person who, I think this is right. I can almost swear that someone saw a presentation on Friday, used it that afternoon with a client, and was talking about it on Saturday. I think so cool. I'm almost trying to have this happen.
Only at a virtual conference.
Yeah, it's kind of a blur, but absolutely. I think that conversation happened. If not, I'm sure that it happened, or it will happen. But yeah, okay. So, what'd you think, Link?
I thought it was fantastic. I am tired still.
You went to 2 conferences this weekend.
Yeah, that is definitely more just me. I did participate in a concurrent conference, the American Death Education Conference, ADEC. That was for thanatologists. I managed to snag a student scholarship to go to that. And when I did that, did not realize they were on the same weekend. So my Friday and Saturday were both very busy, but Sunday I just focused on TAGGS because ADEC had already ended by then, which was really fun. And like, don't tell them, but I definitely had way more fun at TAGGS.
You got to play Jackbox at TAGGS.
I got to play Jackbox at TAGGS. I mean, they were really missing out. Yeah. And then I'm also moving this week, so yeah, I'm still a little tired, but I thought TAGGS was fantastic. It was really great to see geek therapy people that I know presenting and being on panels and everything. That's very rewarding to see, members of my community succeed. And then it was really fun getting to meet some of the Bodhana group people. They're real fun. Jack is a hoot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I gave 2 presentations and did a panel, and they all went really well. And I was only a little bit nervous for the first one. And to be honest, the reason I was nervous is because I procrastinated on making my slideshows really hard. So it was more like, oh my God, I am not done with this nervousness. Than it was like, oh no, what am I going to do? But I pulled it off. Nobody noticed. I just wanted to tell you all now. Some transparency. Sometimes you make the slides the night before, and that is okay.
They looked like you'd worked on them forever. It's okay.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to think if I had any like real standout. I guess my favorite part was the the panel I did with Laura and John, and we talked about the video games we played throughout this past year in the pandemic, and had the participants jump in and share their experiences too. And that was really nice. I like that, sort of interactive conversational aspect.
Yeah.
And then you already mentioned it, but I really liked John's final presentation on Sunday.
Yeah.
I already knew a whole bunch of the story because I've been, friends with John for a while now, but it was really, I thought he did such a great job on his presentation, and really illustrated like why we want geek therapy to be, more broadly accessible. We don't want it to just be specifically therapists who are providing a specific kind of therapy. We want people everywhere to see the value in using these pieces of media as tools, because that's what they are. They are tools for communicating ideas and stories, and when we use those, it makes it more fun and valuable to connect with other people through that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I doubted John a little bit, but no more. Never again.
Never again.
Never again. That was a good presentation. He did. Yeah. I thought he did really well. I also felt a great sense of pride in watching him kick ass. Yeah.
I'm sorry I missed it. I'm gonna have to watch the replay.
I'm very excited for replays.
So we planned it from the beginning, so that, first of all, assuming that it's a live event. You can't go to everybody can go to
all the things.
No, but you can't just go. Sometimes you can't go to a live event. Period. But also, you can't go to all the things. We never planned having 5 concurrent events at the same time. That was not a part of the plan.
It got a little out of hand.
I did see a request for next year. Fewer things at the same time.
Yes.
As the person who now has to edit and post all of these things, I understand. I don't know what the answer is. I think it depends on how many. Well, we'll see, because the idea is that we're selling this media ticket, right? This media pass, so that people can watch it afterwards. And my hope is that people who experience it and had a good time will tell other people, and say, hey, you missed out on this thing. You should check it out. And then
maybe we'll have more people. We'll need more things, because then we'll have more people to watch those things.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But at the very least, I am glad that part actually worked. Everything was recorded and saved, and I can't wait to watch the conference that I organized. I'm very much looking forward to it. I saw parts of it, some simultaneously, but I would like to, see it. I'd like to sit down and actually watch and enjoy the presentations and also learn, because that was kind of the point, to bring people together from different fields and presenting different things. And again, even people I know, I hadn't seen them present in this way before. And it was exciting to meet people from, the fact that there were people from around the world is still surprising to me. Like, I knew, because I had connected with students throughout the whole process. I was like, hey, like, we've got a student discount, reach out. And so, like, they're sending me proof of enrollment and things like that. And like, I could see it was international from the student side. And I knew some of the presenters were from different places, but like, to see it happen, right? And to know that people were so many different time zones, so many different parts of the world, so many different accents, everybody just
people getting
together.
Up at like the 3 a.m, middle of the night to come to the conference or present
or stay up till like, right? It was like, oh yeah, like I'm like, there's 2 more presentations. It's 1 a.m, but I'm going to push through. I was like, this is being recorded, right? Like, you don't have to be here, but they wanted to be there. And it's just, it feels really good. It feels really good. And I was very happy to see that. And I love the idea that someone on the other end of the world, completely opposite side, feels alone in this space, right, where they're doing this type of work or they're interested in it and they feel like they're completely alone, and then they spent a weekend connecting with people and now they don't feel alone, but even though they had to connect with people all around the world, that they were able to do it, right? And then hopefully they don't feel that alone anymore. And maybe, because we even had discussions about this, like, and I told a lot of people, like, 10 years ago, I felt alone. There was nobody else. And I had to, and this is how I found one person. Then I found a second person. And then slowly, that was one of the greatest things. It was like hearing my story being repeated to me by people who were going through it now for the first time, and me being able to tell them, it took me 10 years to get here, but we're here, and hopefully we can speed you along, right? Again, it's like, it's a little different from the locket metaphor from the game, right? But it's like that idea. It's like, I got extra. You want some, right? Like, I can speed you, like, we can cut the line. You don't have to build everything from scratch again. I got you. Let's move you ahead so you can, like, skip all the bad stuff and jump ahead of the line and come on and come hang out with us and just tell us what you're learning, or learn, instead of like learning from one or two people, come and learn from, 80 presenters that we had over the weekend. 80. It's it's it was that was great. So that meant a lot to me too, and I feel like people appreciated that, right? Like, it was it was so good. That that part was good. So so you can watch the recordings, Alara, as will I. I'm working on it. I've only uploaded the first half of the first day.
That's a lot.
So you only have 12 hours of content at the moment to watch. Yeah. Yep.
Well, I've already watched 3 hours of that. 3 hours of that.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you guys at the ADEC conference that I was also going to on Saturday, there was a talk that I got very excited about. It is titled Superhero Grief, a Conversation on the Transformative Power of Loss. And I was like, that's Geek Therapy. You're doing Geek Therapy at the other conference. It's not the Geek Therapy. Ooh.
Yeah.
And I got really excited and I went in there and it felt really good to see that there are definitely people who are on the same page as us, but it was also really funny to see people talking about this outside of the context in which we were talking about it. And so it was very funny to be all like, yeah, when people are grieving, like sometimes talking about video games or like comic books, sometimes this is, like Batman lost his parents, and sometimes people lose their parents, and you can use Batman to relate to that. And I was just like, well, if anybody's feeling like this talk is a little, intro 101,
You're
on over
missing
to
a conference.
TAGGS. You just follow me. Just come with me.
How many people did you bring over? Did you actually tell them? Did you tell them that?
I did not. I was not brave enough to do that.
No.
But I did, message the speakers.
Cool.
There were a couple of them.
Pass.
And so I was just all like, hey, we should be friends. So hoping to hear back from some of them. It'll be cool. One person unrelated to this conversation, it was at a new students roundtable sort of thing. Another person sent me an email, was basically like, hey, you said grief in video games, and I would like to talk to you about that at some point because I'm writing a book and I want to talk about that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh.
There's something, one of the reasons why I think TAGGS, it was important to happen, is because there's a lot of us out there and we don't know about each other. And I've been to presentations where I'm like, I did this presentation 8 years ago. And I'm saying that not in like, I don't know if I sound like a dick, I'm sorry, but it's like, I'm trying to just state the fact that like, oh,
you've
like,
passed the torch on.
This is, but well, not so much that. It's like,
where have you been?
Yes. Also, like, we've moved past that in the sense that like you just discovered it, but also there's a whole bunch of people who have written about this already, are moving past that, and like we're having more advanced conversations, and I come with us, right? I don't want to invalidate what they're doing, but
yeah, it's very contextual. Like we come from that perspective of this is a toolkit that can apply to many different places. A lot of, especially like the Death Conference, like they're coming from the perspective of thanatology, and then pushing on the borders of that, which edges into media stuff where we are. But having building a space for that kind of built-in context of that's the kind of stuff we want to talk about, is very good, and I'm glad that it exists now. And it does mean that over the next probably 30-40 years, because it takes a long time for science communities to communicate with each other, but I think this, we're already seeing it. We're starting it off.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I think TAGGS was needed so that we all have a place where we can come and have these conversations. Because, I mean, on the one hand, it always worries me, right? When there's two parts of it that worry me. One is this a new idea, or not, right? And like it was great when Geek Therapy got started, that I was like, oh, look, Lawrence Rubin has a book on this topic, right? And like, oh, Jane McGonigal had already written Reality is Broken, right? So it's like, oh, so some of these ideas that I had, it was great to find them here, right? And then like I connected, and then you start connecting with people. But after 10 years, right, of doing this stuff, it's strange, right? It worries me that people come out and are like, check out this brand new thing, and it's like, I'll give you an example to like, so I don't, so I'm not commenting on the community that I love and that I identify the most strongly with. When I was in my bachelor's program, in electronics engineering, I joined like a extracurricular lab project creation thing, and they were wrapping up a project when I joined. And at that point, it was only the advisor and one other student. And this was in 2005, around there, 2004. 2004? Yeah, it was around 2004. It must have been 2003. So I joined this program, and I'm really excited. And so he's wrapping up this project, and he's ready to present it at an event at the end of the week. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, what is it? He's like, check this out. This machine over here is connected to the phone line. And this beeper over here, in case of an emergency, you press the button, and then that machine will call the police or an ambulance or anything, because you need help. This would be really good for older individuals, right? And so he's explaining this thing to me, and I'm like, you just described Life Alert to me, which I remember seeing commercials for in the 80s. Have you never heard of Life Alert? He's like, Life Alert? Like, what is that? I'm like, are you I thought he was kidding. So he goes and he gives this presentation.
Those commercials are everywhere.
So he gives a presentation on Friday, and I go and I'm watching this. And he goes on stage and introduces this invention of like Life Alert for older people.
Life Alert 2. Very different.
And people applauded, and like people commented on how useful it would be and how amazing, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so I hope that the disbelief that you're feeling right now, because you both know exactly what I was talking about as I'm describing it, right? You went through the same experience. I've gone through that within the therapeutic and applied field, right? It's like you're talking about this thing, but it's the feeling that you think it's something new when it's not, right? It's like, that's what I'm worried about. It's like you've first of all, you're very disconnected. Like, you haven't Googled is my first concern. But even if you did and you didn't find stuff, when you find out that all like it's good that we have a place where we can all come and learn from each other, and see at different levels, and that we're already doing it in different ways, right? Like we have different, like the panel I did with Janina, the whole idea was, I don't know if either of you saw it, but like I started it off by sharing an email that I sent her years ago, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this book?" And I was like, "No," because you have a theoretical rotation, I have another one, and I don't think that they match, right? That's an advanced conversation, right? Like we've gone beyond using superheroes in counseling, and we're talking about,
yeah, you're not doing the same thing. You're doing a similar thing in very different ways.
But like the broad concept of it is the same, right? Like the broad concepts that we were all talking about 10 years ago are the same. But then it matures to the point where we can have a discussion about the fact that we're looking at it from two completely different theoretical orientations, and we would use it blah 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 this way. It's the same with with me and O'Connor. When O'Connor has we always talk about the Geek Therapy Library was inspired by his Comicspedia. His theoretical orientation and even the model that he has for Comicspedia is very different than the way that we're doing it, right? And I think in some cases, for some people, I would recommend Comicspedia, and for others, I would use the Geek Therapy Library model. Those are like,
I mean, the coolest thing is that you have options.
No, but my point being that those are advanced conversations that we've been having that have developed over the course of 10 years. And then, so when I go to like an event and I see somebody like talking about something like it's brand new, and then like I'm sitting in the audience with people who are like, I don't know what to like.
I've been doing this for 10 years.
But right. Like there's a way. Again, there's a way to not sound like a dick about it. And I'm not sure that I've found it, but it's like, hey, you probably want to. Like we want to talk to you. We want to talk to you more. But like we want to show you all this stuff. I don't understand like I was always looking for other people, and when I found them, I felt so relieved. And I have seen people who find the other people, and then they're not relieved. They're like upset, right? It's like again, like my friend who made the thing, like he did not believe me. Like he was kind of offended that I would imply that there was a thing called Life Alert, right? And there was like a resistance there. And anyway, this is just one of the many things that a conference like TAGGS is addressing. And I'm one thing that I was thinking throughout the weekend was maybe in the future, I don't know how we do that, but there's like beginner, intermediate, and advanced, right? Like there are some conversations that were more introductory into some concepts. And I like the idea of that because maybe there were a lot of people who use tabletop role-playing games, and they could have gone to maybe like one of Kelly's presentations as like a very good introductory look, like a deep look, but still like not super clinical look into the world of video games and mental health, right? I was like, oh, that's like an awesome presentation. It's more general and very much like a level 1 that would have been great for anybody who's not in that particular world, but someone who's already using video games probably knows this stuff and might want to go to like a more advanced one in that center, but then go to a introductory one for therapeutic tabletop role-playing game, right? So like there's a part of that I really liked where it's like, okay, this is my lane, so I want to see what the other people are doing at a higher level. I would be bored if I went to one that was like introductory, right? Like that's the basic stuff. So and with 80 presentations, we could have done that, but I didn't. In hindsight, I see it that way. But that excites me for the future, where we can do something like that, and I can say like, where would you put this? Like in beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and maybe it's not beginner, intermediate, advanced, right? Maybe it's like I'll come up with something, or I'll ask what might help. But again, it's like no, this is a debate.
Is it Squirtle?
It's
is it War Turtle? Is it Blastoise?
It's story mode, easy mode, normal mode, and brutality.
There's got to be you understand what I mean. I wish I had a different word for like I don't. It's like it's not hard mode. It's more like Damn.
It's just the more inside baseball stuff instead of
Here's a game.
But give me, what are two games in the same genre that one is super more complicated than the other? Something like I'm trying to think. Come on, we can do this.
I'm kind of enjoying watching you struggle, though.
Come on, John. He's watching it. Help me. I can't think of one right now, but you know what I mean. Well, it's like I don't necessarily agree with this, but people, talk about Pokemon being like an easy RPG, and to an extent, I agree that it can be. It doesn't have as many deep or multiple systems and levels and stuff as they're not required. They're not required, right?
They're not required.
They're not required.
They're opt-in.
They are opt-in, right? Where others, you're like, no, like there's this, and then you keep getting more and more systems, right? It's like,
I mean, maybe that's the example. Is Pokemon is that you can be you pop the game in and you play it and you have fun and that's that, or there's the people who are like, I want to know all of the elemental interactions. I want to know how to breed the best EVs. I want to know what items to make my Pokemon hold while they're
This is it.
Or
It's not
Pokemon
advanced.
Go. I need my shinies. I need to go to my raids. I need to.
Okay, I like
or
this.
I just want to walk around and catch stuff.
Yep.
I don't like mobile as an example because that doesn't. No, I don't like survival mode. I don't like that suggestion.
Yep.
But no.
But Minecraft creative mode and survival mode.
Yes. I think the advanced is min-maxing. I think that's what it is. Right? It's like at this point, it's like we're playing the same game, but we're not playing the same game anymore, right? It's that. It's min-maxing.
It's, do you want to play the game or do you want to read the entire Wikipedia?
Do you want to?
Because you can do both.
Do you want to? That's a good one. Play the game, read the guides, write the guides. Right? It's like, do you want to contribute to the wiki? It's gonna be something like that. I think tonally you understand what I'm saying. But I like the idea of min maxing. Right? It's like, oh no, like now we're really into we're talking about systems and how to optimize and we're comparing why one works better than the other. Like we're studying at this point. Yeah, we'll come up with it. We have a little bit of time. We put tags together very, very quickly.
We should start planning tags. If we're doing it 2022, we should start planning in the next couple months. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we definitely. It would benefit us to start a little earlier than this. We put everything together very fast, and which is one of the reasons why I'm also very, very proud of everything of how it happened, because it was very fast. It was very fast. And so
most people did not pick up on like any issues, and that's wonderful.
the only problems that we had were during the keynotes, and that's because I tried to make them all special. Like I wanted them to stand out. I wanted them to have like I was like trying to put production value into them, and each and every one of them was a disaster from the technological point. From the technology point, they did not either they were a disaster or they just ended up being a Zoom conference instead of something. I was trying to treat them a little differently, and they all crashed and burned. Again, tech-wise, content-wise, glorious. They were good. They were good. We had good people.
Yeah.
We had good people. You got to watch the second one. The second one is really the one with our family plays games.
The one that was during our panel.
So Woody was in the audience and they brought up Terra Mystica, and it was, and I jumped on that. You got to watch it. You got to tell the story. And I could see Woody, through his text in the chat, I could see him turning red and just melting. It was great. It was fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah. Any other thoughts on tags? Do you want to share any memories? I'll have a memory.
It was cool to see. I went to a presentation by an occupational therapist who said that she was in the Geek Therapy Facebook group. And she said, I've been lurking in the Facebook group, and she was presenting at TAGGS, and it was awesome. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, I mentioned some of my favorites earlier, but I just remembered I really, really liked Mama Foxfire's opening
Keynote. Yeah.
keynotes. That was really good. I think she did a great job opening up for everybody. She really set the tone, being welcoming and open and kind and full of like friendship and learning and magic. It was just great.
Yeah.
Mama is great.
Yeah.
Tags
And
is
she
great.
said, never schedule her at the same time as Link again,
Yes.
please.
It was not my fault. It was Jack's fault. Completely 100%. Yeah, no, I mean, having Mama there and setting the tone for the event just felt perfect because, again,
It was.
the theme was community. Everyone has a seat at the table. And I hope I did it justice when I tried to introduce her. I was like, look, like we're all doing this work in different ways, but like you mentioned the wiki link, right? It's like the people who write the wikis, the people who do the live streams and the YouTube shows on the games, on the movies, on things like they're doing all this analysis and stuff, and then we're learning from that too. And it's actually it's all part of geek culture. It's all part of gaming culture. It's all important. And Mama is a mental health advocate on Twitch, building a community and doing it responsibly, bringing in mental health professionals to answer questions that she obviously cannot answer. And she's just creating a platform for that and talking about mental health and making sure that people have resources. And we can't do everything, right? Like we can't. Geek Therapy tries, right, to do more maybe than it is currently. We stretch ourselves out. Let's just put it that way, right? And Mama is like doing the Twitch thing in a great way, and she's a great asset to the community. And then she's also, plus she gets it, right? Like she is in the Discord, right? Like she knows that she's welcome there, right? She knows that she can come play in all these spaces because we value what she has to offer and what she's offering and what she's giving. And the fact that she not only agreed to do the keynote, she also offered to do a presentation. Because so again, we can learn from each other. And just because you have a fancy degree or you're licensed doesn't mean that you are an expert in the things that we're talking about here, or anything for that matter. But Mama's like, oh, like, how about I teach y'all about building a community that's like focused on mental health and everything that I've learned doing this so far. It's like, yeah, these people can use that 100%. And plus, again, like it's at every level, right? Like I think it was just beautiful. I think it was great to have her there. Yeah, I'm so glad that she did it. I fucked up that video too. So like the basically there is no video for that presentation. If you saw it live, you saw it. There is a video up, but I actually recreated I had all the slides, so I recreated the entire thing from scratch with the audio. I was able to capture the audio, but the video was not. Yeah,
I'm impressed that you got that up during the weekend. If you had to recreate it like that,
good job, Josue. You are going above and beyond. I am very impressed.
Like I said, I was on a drug called positivity, and I was doing okay. I was fine. I still got some sleep. And yeah. No, it's fine. It's good, and I'm hoping by the time this episode is published, all of the videos are up, and so people can check it out. But I'll tell you one story one moment that I enjoyed. I don't know if the other people in the room enjoyed it, but it was a fun memory for me. Just like some people were brand new to this, right? In the sense that like, oh, I saw an ad on Facebook and I didn't like, and it seemed interesting. I was like, oh, tags, like, yeah, no, like, that sounds like me. I want to be a part of that. Like, they didn't know Geek Therapy. They didn't know the Bodana group. They weren't, like, friends with other people there. And so, but there's so many things that connect us, right? So there was one person who presented. It was a really cool presentation. So I'm talking to the person at the end, and he's bringing something up, and I'm like, "Have you ever read Jay McGonigal's Super Better?" And he's like, "Yes, I love that book. Like that book is like such a big part like of what we're doing, right?" And then he goes and says, "And there's this one chapter in the book. It's the secret." He's like, "It's the secret identity chapter, and we're actually like it inspired an entire program that we're doing." And I'm like,
did you just start like glowing and vibrating and lifting off the ground with your god powers? Because damn, that was so perfect.
Yeah, usually it's like, "Hey, fun fact, I'm in the book," but he's like gushing about the one chapter, and I'm like, "I'm in that chapter. That's me. You've probably read my." He's like, "I've read that chapter over and over." And I'm like, "You've seen my name multiple times, right?" And like, you didn't realize that until after, right? Like until the end of the conversation. There was another panel where there's a group of doctors in the UK who have a Twitter account called Gaming the Mind, and they eventually started a podcast too, and I like them a lot. Like we've interacted online and stuff, and like I remember there were some emails going around because Jack was dealing with most of the scheduling, and Jack Birkenstock Jr. from the Badana Group. He's been on this show before, way back, and I don't remember what number, but he's been here. And so there's some emails going back and forth, and they're like we're in the UK, like it's because of the time difference and stuff. Like, what if we just pre-record it and then we send it over? But then like we're in there live while it's playing, and I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then I was able to actually, I was monitoring your presentation, I think, Link, and then I was able to jump over to that one because, as far as I can tell, you're one of the only people who made a very healthy choice of like you don't need to use the full 90 minutes. You have 90 minutes if you want it.
Oh.
Right? Like, just use the time, right? Like, you were like, do I have to fill it 90 minutes? I was like, no. What?
You say that like it's like, oh yeah, you're so smart. I panicked over that. I asked you so many times.
I told you didn't have to fill out the time.
5 different times. I was like, Josue, am I expected to fill 90 minutes?
No.
You didn't. You okayed all of my proposal. You didn't answer for a long time. You did finally answer.
I'm sorry.
But it took me like 4 times asking before
I'm
you.
very sorry.
I was like, people are gonna be disappointed, but you know what? I'll just lie and say that nobody told me.
Well, I'm very glad. I was glad to see that you said what you wanted to say. You opened it up for a conversation, and then you did not try to drag it out. You didn't try to like fill 90 minutes. You were like, "That's it, folks. Thank you. This was great. This was fantastic. You have an extra 30 minutes of your time," right? So then I took, I'm pretty sure it was after your second one. So I went to this other presentation for this group. I'm there, I'm watching it, and I'm seeing the presentation, and I'm like all into, because it's about anime and stuff, and I'm responding. And then I see the Gaming the Mind is flashing on the thing, and I had no idea. For like weeks, I'm like seeing the emails go back and forth. I know that they're scheduled to be there. They're like, I've started emailing them back and forth, and like I had not connected the fact that they were at Gaming the Mind. Like, I've talked to them on Twitter for years, and then I was emailing them directly, like getting information from them, their headshots and stuff like that. And then it turns out my point is that we're this group of people is connected in multiple ways, right? And like the Super Better example, like we're all speaking the same language, and it was moments like that where you're like, oh, you're this person, or oh, I know, okay, cool. It was like I got to meet John, from the Discord, right? Like, he came to a few different panels, and I was so happy, that he came, and it was, it was just so good. It was just so great. It was good. It was good stuff. So I still feel pretty good. I guess the more I talk about it, the better I feel. It's like I'm recharged again. This is good. This is good. No. John says I didn't expect to fill mine, and I went overboard with his presentation. No, you did good. It's a good timing. I don't think you went over.
Yeah.
I think so.
He filled the whole time slot.
He filled the whole 90 minutes. Yeah,
he did.
Most people that I went to, they filled the whole time slot, because when you look at academic conferences, usually you can fill the whole time slot.
I mean,
It's
you can be so.
It's okay. Link, yours was the perfect length.
I'm just saying you can.
And it gave me a chance to take a break.
I understand
Just doing it for you.
feeling the need to, but like there's also there's a reason why TED Talks are 18 minutes long. There are specific reasons for that, and just there's like you don't have to drag everything out. You can. And I don't know. I haven't watched all the presentations yet. I'll let you know after how I feel. But I think, I think it was, I appreciate that. I don't know if anybody else appreciates the fact that you didn't feel the need to fill in, or you, for whatever reason, like you didn't feel pressured, right? To like, well, I'm going to show a video that's like 20 minutes long so we can fill this space. And it's like, no, you didn't have to do that.
I thought about it. I thought about it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. Or it could have been great. Who knows? Yeah. No. Well, so I definitely am trying to put this positive energy towards, like I said, like I've been reaching out to friends and things like that. In another sense, it would be very hard to do all the work that I still need to do for TAGGS if I wasn't this energized. So I'm taking advantage of that. And like I said, like everything from the first 2 time slots, so that's 8 presentations from Friday morning basically, are up now, and I'll keep putting stuff up. And then we've been dealing with other stuff, other good stuff with Geek Therapy. So I've been super busy, but I'm trying to put that energy towards that, towards it's good. It's good to have this much positive energy, and I think there's a broader conversation that I'm not even going to bring up because we're definitely at time already, and I'm feeling too energized to. I could keep going, but we're not going to. We're gonna wrap this up. Closing thoughts? Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts? Anything?
I just want to express gratitude to all of the people who presented and helped everything run smoothly and showed up and chatted or lurked or hung out in the Discord. Thank you for spending your time with us.
Yeah. I could second that. I'm very thankful for everybody that chose to be there, that chose to be a part of it, that chose to present and just participated in general. It was so great. I remember seeing a presentation where someone was like, I'm going to turn my camera on so you don't feel so alone. I was like, there's the love, it was just like, it's just like, it was great. Yep. Anyway, thank you to that person too.
Yes. The viewers who leave their cams on so we can see your like, yes, or your face. Thank you. You are heroes. We could not do it without you.
Absolutely.
It's a very important job.
I highly recommend you watch the second keynote, because when I do make a
I'm
joke,
gonna watch them all.
When I do make a joke at Woody Harris's expense, the faces of the presenters are priceless. Like they go, oh, they're like, like the reaction is just.
You threw Woody under the bus.
It was so good. I debated, and I didn't do this, but I debated like zooming in on their reaction during the edit, but I didn't. I didn't do that. Laura, any closing final thoughts?
I think it was an amazing weekend. I feel energized. I feel exhausted and energized at the same time, which makes it hard because I don't have the energy to do the things, but I want to do all the things. I woke up on Monday and met with my first client, and my voice sounded I had to clear my throat into my mic like all morning. It was gross.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful time, and the fact that my voice was gone means I did the same kinds of things that my voice is always gone after Disneyland and San Diego Comic-Con and the things that I enjoy the most in life. So I think this is one of those experiences that is the things I enjoy the most in life. And I had a great time.
Yeah. And in case anybody has forgotten, including the people who are here right now, like Laura was in the audience at my first presentation, and Link listened to the podcast that Kelly and I were doing, and Zhang was like listened to found the Geek Therapy podcast online, and this weekend felt like I love those stories of us, right, and everything that we've done so far, and I hope, and I'm glad to hear that you feel some ownership over this too, and that these were your people, and that it was that good, and again, like Zhang has 2 other podcasts, right, that on the network, and so I can't imagine what might come from this, where it's like so condensed or concentrated, right? All of that. So we will find out. We'll definitely find out. So so TAGGS was great. We will keep talking about it. If you haven't seen it, go to tagsummit.org, and that's TAGGSUMMIT.org, and pick yourself up a media pass. All proceeds from the sales for the event go to support the nonprofit Geek Therapy and the Bodhana Group. And we're definitely going to do this again. I don't know how we could not. So thank you for listening. Links to everything that we've mentioned, and our community spaces, including the Geek Therapy Discord, will be in the show notes. For more Geek Therapy, visit geektherapy.org. Remember to geek out and do good, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna end the stream. No, not end the stream. I'm in the podcast recording. and because Johnny's still here, this is episode 294.
We are getting to 300.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Now we just need them to get posted.
That's...
Yeah, I hear you. I hear that.
I've done...
300 is a lot of episodes.
Done more than 100 episodes. Done...
Yeah. 300.
A lot of episodes.
You've done a lot. Yeah. 150 maybe? Was 150 your first one? 154, I think. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. It's been a lot. So just a reminder that I am overwhelmed lately because it is lots of milestones this year.
So end of May is episode 300.
And
the end of May. And then June
is the 10th anniversary officially.
Is the 10th anniversary.
So kick it off with the 300th episode, and
I mean, we've got in case you had not realized, this party started in January.
It did.
This party started in January. 10th anniversary logo. Geek Therapy in the Telegraph. Then in February, we started planning TAGGS. TAGGS happened. TAGGS was successful. Yeah, it feels like the next milestone is definitely the 300, and then that, and then
can't stop this crazy train.
Can't stop it. Can't stop, won't stop. Okay, all right. Well, Jen, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Yes, could you be our hype man? We need hype people. We need hype people. All right, we're gonna end the stream now. Good night, John. Good night, everybody. Thank you. And this is our first episode on YouTube, which means it's gonna stay there forever. Because I'm not.
Oh no.
Exactly. We gotta be careful.
I've completely lost the notion that I'm going to make the good version of the podcast and then post that on YouTube. Nope, raw right here. This, and that's it. So we'll see how this works. Bye.
Bye. My phone's about to die anyways. This is good timing.
Okay, perfect.